I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm sorry. Hi there, and welcome to Reflections. And I'm Rhonda Jones, and my co-host is Monica Livingston. And we have Kimberly Johnson. Uh, that is Kimberly Johnson. And we have Ruthie Wyburn. That is Ruthie Wyburn. And today they decided to dress up, and I forgot all about it. And so I feel bad that I didn't dress up today.
You could have at least put on a little makeup or something. Combed your
I know, I was running
hair.
late, so I just got out of the shower and came on. But actually, this is my grandma costume because my daughter-in-law, who I dearly love, bought this for me when it went on clearance last year. I couldn't wear it. I couldn't wear it for Halloween last year, but I did find it, and so this is my grandma costume. And this looks a little bit like my grandma anyway, so I guess this is what I will look like when I get a little bit older. But that's okay. I have a good heart. It's what's on the inside, right? Not the outside? Right. Okay, nice. So let's talk about our costumes, and let's start with Ruthie. Tell us about your costume.
It's a witch costume. I'm the green witch, except I couldn't find any green hats this year, so I had to settle for a black one. But it'll do. Just pretend it's green.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
your shirt says you're a witch and famous.
That's true. That's true.
Okay. Well, tell us what you're famous for.
Being a witch.
That's pretty obvious. Okay, Ruthie. A green witch. I've never heard of a green witch. What's up with that?
Well, I don't know. It's just when we lived in Idaho, we were having a Halloween party, and they wanted you to come dressed up, and I didn't have a lot of money to put on frivolous things, so I had for some reason this green hat that was a witch's hat, and I had a green dress, just a regular green dress, and so I went as a green witch. I said the green witch of the West, but that's okay because we lived in the West then. And it was a really neat Halloween party. They gave you a menu, and on the menu was fork, the Clark fork or a mountain or whatever, and you got to choose two things. And when you got it, you didn't know what you was getting because you didn't know what that stood for.
Oh, awesome.
And you might get gravy and a celery stick, and you had to eat your gravy with your celery stick.
Oh my goodness.
But it was fun. It was fun. And one of the ladies came dressed as an old lady, and nobody knew who she was except me. And I recognized her by her hands. They weren't old, and the rest of her was. So you need to wrinkle your hands up there, Grandma.
Oh, yeah. The good thing about my hands is they're always, like, usually swollen and puffy, and so you don't have a lot of wrinkles on swollen, puffy hands. And
Oh,
so
okay.
that's a good thing. It's a good thing. They don't look as old as the rest of it. But now you're not a bad witch.
Oh,
You're
no,
telling
I'm the
us.
good witch.
You're the good witch.
Yes, yes, the good witch.
Okay. Well, I love your costume, and
Thank
I'm
you.
so glad you participated. I wish I would have participated today. Kimberly, now you take it from here.
Well, I had a costume for Thursday and decided not to wear it because it involved face paint. So I Googled quick costumes and I came as a spice rack.
I love it. I love it. I mean,
I do too.
Don't you?
Yes.
Now tell a story about appropriateness. I mean,
Well, I wasn't sure whether it was show appropriate. So I asked the expert, Sister Ruth, and she said it was acceptable. So
well, I think
she's the good witch of the West has spoken.
she has spoken and declared that your spice rack costume is appropriate. Now, what
Okay.
sort of spices do you have in your
We've
rack?
got we've got some gumbo spice. That's for my husband there. Some cumin.
I hope
and
it's
some
not for your
pumpkin
husband.
spice. Yeah.
Celery seed, ground cumin.
Some filet.
Oh, filet. Wow, you're cooking up a Louisiana dish. Things will be spicy at the Johnson house tonight.
You can only hope.
Well, that is adorable, and it's adorable. So, folks, she'll be talking about a little bit later quick Halloween costumes. If you get invited to a party at the last minute, or possibly you just want to go out with the kids and dress up because they say, Mommy, please dress up, or Daddy, please dress up, she'll have some ideas for you. Monica, now, what are you?
I am vampira, but I cannot talk with my teeth in, so we had to nix that part of the costume.
Well, you need to have them readjusted.
I do.
So your hair looks a little different. Explain that.
Just some black spray paint that we hope, or black hair spray paint that we hope washes out real well.
Yeah, I love you as a
Well, see, I went to a family
blonde.
reunion this weekend, so I walked in the door. My husband hasn't seen me because he was here busy working with Dr. Shook in town and all the shows we've been able to do. And so I said, honey, I had a makeover while I was out of town. He just looked at me like I was nuts.
Oh my gosh! So he didn't know anything about it, basically, or he didn't have time to pay attention, or.
Well, he wasn't there this morning when I
True.
got home and was getting ready.
All right. Well, I like that. Are you going to wear that when you take your children trick or treating?
Maybe.
Okay.
I had something else in mind, but kind of threw this together because I couldn't find part that I bought last year when I bought your shirt on clearance.
Well, I'm extremely proud of my grandma. This is my grandma costume, and so I'll be wearing this when we do trunk or treat out here in front of the studio on Thursday. And that is something I'm very proud of. I don't have to be your mama. I don't have to be this and that, but I need to be your grandma. And so I love that part about it. Okay. Well, I'm going to take this off. You won't see much of a difference. I think I stuck my sweaty face now. I asked the ladies to help me after I take the mask off.
You look fantastic.
Okay. Am I appropriate?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. I feel like my eyelashes were stuck to the plastic. But yes, that might come in handy. I might wear that too, Ruthie.
May I take off my hat? I don't like hats, so may I take off my hat?
That is
Do I have
up
keep
to
it on
you.
the show?
You know what? That's up to you. So if you want to take it off, and we still know that you're a witch by your shirt.
Right.
By your shirt.
Haha, you have hat hair. No. Sorry, I just couldn't resist.
Women are so
Now I can
catty.
breathe. When I wear a hat, I can't breathe because I'm like a whale and breathe out the top of my head.
That is true. Ruthie told me about that a while back, and I believe her. Okay, we are going to talk about some quick Halloween costumes. If, like we said, if at the last minute you need a Halloween costume, you listen to Kimberly. She's got it going on for you.
All right, some of these are just, to me, they scream, I didn't have time for a costume. I started to wear one, you take, you write B-O-O-K on your face in your Facebook. But that to me,
That screams.
That screams lazy.
Not
That
only
screams
did I
lazy.
forget, I didn't have enough money to run to Walmart and buy something.
Well, okay, I'll be Facebook.
Lazy and broke.
Lazy
Yeah,
and broke.
So I
That's
started
cute.
to do that, but I thought that one was just too. Dress all in pink, take a feather duster, and be tickled pink.
I've seen that one before.
Oh, that's
Cute.
cute. Yeah, oh my goodness,
Wrap
adorable.
yourself up in foil. You can get baked potato.
I can do that.
If you have,
I
you don't
can't-
have enough foil, but you have an X-File shirt, you can put on an X-File shirt and just wrap foil around your head. You can be a conspiracy theorist. So.
Nice. Oh, I'm loving this. I don't know. My inner child's coming out.
Okay. Well, let's see here. Wear all black and put a giant stamp on your chest. Oversized stamp. You can be black male.
I've also seen dress in all black and put the letter P all over your black-eyed pea.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Tape an enlarged picture of a quarter on your back and you can be a quarterback. If you're not out with your children, you can put a pot on your head and be a pothead.
Yes, you could do that. You could do that.
You probably wouldn't want to wear this one out with your children either.
It's show appropriate, maybe not.
My son asked me what I was, but he didn't guess right.
He was very close, though.
He was. Also,
He was very close.
If you're not with your children, perhaps wrap yourself in wrapping paper and put a sign that says "To God from Women," so you're women. It's God's gift to women.
Oh my gosh!
I guess if you're a
wish
man.
I wish I would see a guy trying to do that. I would bust, like Christopher Mounty says, bust their chops.
That would be fun. Tape 2 couch cushions, one to your front, one to your back, and you can wear all black, and you're the lost TV remote in between the couch cushions.
Oh my gosh, that's cute.
Trying to see. Some of them are a little obvious in dress. If you have an old bridesmaid gown, put on a. If you've been a bridesmaid several times, you put whichever one fits the best, and then tape the other ones to you or pin them. You're always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
My bridesmaids' dresses would not fit me.
Maybe the last one I wore at the renewal of the vows.
Dress
Other
up
than
like
that, no.
I don't know how you dress up like a rapper. I guess gold chains, black,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
a lot
stick
of
candy
bling.
all over yourself. You be a candy wrapper.
Oh yes,
So,
yes.
That's just a
Play
few
on
ideas.
words.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Play
I
on
like.
words.
I like. If you take a permanent marker and write on a slip sayings of Sigmund Freud, you'd be a Freudian slip. And I didn't have a slip, so I didn't do that one either.
I mean,
I always like that
people
one.
just don't wear those anymore.
Yeah.
They probably should on some occasions, but you just hardly can't find a slip in the store.
So that's just some ideas, and some of them were not appropriate.
Well, thank you for being always conscientious. Well, up until today about appropriate. I'm
I
joking. I'm
double-checked.
joking.
I
just want to.
double-checked.
I just want to give you a hard time. I know you did. I know you did. It's adorable. Okay, you have some customs, Halloween traditions,
Yeah,
or
just a few from around the world.
yeah. I didn't even know people around the world really participated in
Yeah,
Halloween.
Halloween came from Ireland,
Didn't know that.
and jack-o'-lanterns was the story of a man who sold a soul to Satan. His name was Jack, and he carved out a turnip and put an ember in it and searches for his lost soul. But when Irish immigrants came to the United States, pumpkins grew here, and they're easier to carve than a turnip, and that's how we started carving pumpkins. Black cats, bats, spiders are all witch familiars. That's why they're associated with evil.
Evil. But she's a good witch.
Yes.
Good witch.
Good witch.
Witch and famous. Sorry, I like that.
Oh, I just got it. It's a rich and famous.
You had to take off the mask. It was inhibiting
That's what
your
it was.
oxygen.
Yeah, well,
That's her story, and she's sticking
I was
to
sticking
it.
to it.
That was what it
Rich
was.
and famous. Rich and famous.
Yeah. The idea that witches are old and ugly came from the Irish tradition. The deity, this the goddess of the moon, the maid, the matron, and the crone was the last part of the goddess's face, and she wasn't old and ugly. She was just an older woman. But that's where that came from.
Well, that's
And they
not
sell
how
If
it
you've
is
ever seen The
nowadays.
Wizard of Oz, Glinda's
always-
not an ugly witch.
She's
No.
gorgeous.
She's
I always thought
I
she was
always say
beautiful.
It's maid, mother, and matriarch. But that's
Crohn's. Yeah, maid matron and
I've got
crone.
enough scotch in me to change it if I want to.
You drank before the show?
Yeah, I did. That was how I built up my courage to
Toward the spice.
wear the spice rack. No, I have Scotch
Scotch
Irish in my
blood.
bloodline. Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Okay. In Australia, they leave out bread and water for the spirits when they go to bed for Halloween. Like we leave milk and cookies for Santa.
Bread
They
and
leave
water.
out bread and water. I don't know if I'd want to come back if that's all of what I was coming back to.
Maybe that's how they do it, so they will find
Well, it
another
depends on
house.
what kind of
Maybe
bread.
so.
Maybe they got a real good bread. They
Really good focaccia or
In
yeah,
Belgium,
art-
they-
artisan bread.
In Belgium, they light candles in memory of the dead,
Mm.
their deceased family.
Must be a lot of Catholics in Belgium.
I don't know. In Czechoslovakia, they place chairs around the fireside at Halloween. One chair for each living family member and one chair for each deceased in case they want to come visit.
As much as I love my dead family members, please
don't.
do not come back and visit me. Don't. Right? Who was
Yeah,
that?
nope.
We always have our family reunion on my dad's side of the family at the graveyard so that nobody's excluded.
Shut.
I'm
No.
serious.
No, you
Yeah,
don't.
we do. Yeah.
No.
We always have a picnic out there at the graveyard.
I don't believe it. I don't.
You don't believe me? Yeah.
No. I don't believe you.
there's nothing wrong with a cemetery. It's just full of old empty bottles or tin cans or whatever, because the spirit's no longer there. There's
That's
nothing
right.
there. It's just empty bottles or tin cans or cups or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, a little
The vessel
vessel.
that held the spirit.
Well, yeah, but
And it's empty now, so that's all that's there.
And,
So y'all just plop down on the headstone, and you got your built-in table, and
I've never seen
Oh,
anybody
sorry.
actually eat on.
okay. I just clarified. You know, I mean, I'm
But
from a
they're-
redneck
I'm-
group
I'm
of
not-
people.
I'm not joking.
Us.
Our family cemetery has picnic tables near the cemetery for the family.
Okay.
That's about it.
well, you know what? You hear something different every day, or you learn something different every day.
And in Hong Kong, they burn pitchers of fruit. Instead of leaving fruit and stuff out for the dead, they burn pitchers so that the image will go to the spirit and they'll have something to eat, I guess.
Oh my gosh, it's just getting worse and worse.
Oh, some of them were pretty fun.
Oh,
I always liked the Mexican Day of the Dead celebration more
What's
than
that about?
Halloween. That's where they remember the people in their family who
Oh,
died and
who-
they celebrate their lives instead of.
I like that.
I always thought
like
that was
that.
pretty cool. But so I guess that's about the end of that.
I tell you what, that was fascinating because
Some of it.
I haven't heard. I don't think I've heard any of those, especially the one about the cemetery family reunion.
That wasn't on there. That's just how my family. Yeah, Memorial Day, we all
yeah.
go
Y'all
out
do-
to the family cemetery and
Yeah.
have a picnic.
I
And you
hope
have to
nobody
go
in my
because whoever
family's watching
doesn't
that
show up.
show,
is-
I liked where we had ours. I don't want to move it to the
if
grave.
you don't show up, that's who they gossip about. You know, they're going to talk about you.
Well, that's
Oh, yeah.
just
So
that's
you
just
gotta
the
go.
tradition in every family, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, probably so.
I think so. Speaking of family reunions, you have a story. You just, you and the children. Well, first of all, I'm gonna preface it with this. Dr. John Shook has been visiting here in our NCG studios since Thursday afternoon. We've had a great time with him, and honest to goodness, he's like the Energizer Bunny, because I would have been like, I need to take a break. I need to go rest in my hotel, and I need to do that. I need some time, and not him. He'll go from can to can't, and just keeps talking, and I don't know. He's amazing that way.
He's
Just
got a long flight home, does he?
no,
Oh,
not
I was
really.
gonna say maybe you could sleep on the way home.
Not really. Not really. The thing is he's just amazing. Okay. As far as just working, he came to work, and he really did. And I thought, sometimes when you go out of town, you don't come to do all the work. You want to see this and that. And so, anywho, props to him for really wanting to make a difference. And but because of that, your husband did not attend the family reunion with you, which I was sort of upset with him for not showing up, just for that one special reason. Those people that were mean to you on Facebook.
Well, he did, keep in contact with me and encourage me, and I think, I know it went well. Everything went really well. I was very apprehensive before I went. I'd even had one of those crazy dreams, that you get one of those dreams, and it was one of these things where I thought I was going to be able to stand up and proclaim what I believed and straighten them all out.
Yeah, we all think that.
A crazy thing. But anyways, I got there Friday night, and we got there late. Everything was supposed to start happening like at dusk. They were going to have the haunted hayride for the kids and this, that, and the other. And we didn't get there until about 8 o'clock. And as we're pulling into the driveway, they're loading up the wagon for the hayride.
Oh,
And my dad's hollering at everybody on, everybody ready to go. We have the windows rolled down. We're screaming, no, wait! Because my kids are really, really wanting to do
yeah.
the hayride. So they jump out and take off, and, I go on up to where the bonfire was and let the kids go off with all the rest of the kids and young adults that wanted to ride. And as I walked by, my cousin and her husband walked past me, and this is one of the second to unfriend me on Facebook.
because
And
of your
he kind of nods, yeah,
Oh.
because of my beliefs, being different from theirs. And he kind of nods at me, and she's kind of huddled down behind him.
Oh,
And I thought,
what?
okay, right off the bat. But I said, maybe not. Maybe she wasn't really paying attention. It was dark right there in that particular area. Maybe she didn't see me. So I went on back to where everybody was, and one of my cousins jumped up and hugged me, but she's not even on Facebook, and if she is, I really haven't, talked to her on Facebook. I didn't know she was on there. And But she jumped up and hugged me and, oh, hey, how are you doing? It's so good to see you. But she hasn't got to make it to a lot of family reunions, and we just sat there chatting. The rest of them are just around the fire pit there and talking, and never came over. And, I mean, they spoke like to each other, and everybody in the group would kind of just interact. But it wasn't like, hey, Monica, how you doing? And
Yeah.
back and forth. And my uncle did. And so I just was, kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt with it being cold, and everybody huddled up because it got real cold. And then I went inside and was dealing with the kids, and when I came out, most of them were gone, if not all of them, that were in the group that had unfriended me. So I said, well, we'll see how Saturday goes. And I had talked with one of my other cousins, and she had shared that ever since before her dad died, she's had a lot of people that used to be church family because her dad was a Baptist minister, my uncle, and that have, just had nothing to do with her parent, with her mom, and had given her dad a bunch of crap towards the end of his life because, he used to sing and he was a minister and she used to sing with him and stuff, but because she'd have a beer now and again or, miss a service to go tubing or whatever, they always had something to say. And so she shared that she isn't even going, and she said that doesn't mean I don't believe there's a God and stuff. She goes, but a lot of stuff that, they can treat you one way. And so we had a good conversation, and I did share with her some of what I do believe, and I shared with her about what the New Covenant group is about atheists and theists and people that are skeptics or believe in, Buddha or whoever. If you want to come down here and join in conversation and be a community of individuals and people that are human beings sharing this rock together, great. And she thought that was a good thing, and we talked, and she said, well, I guess we'll see what happens in the light of day. And I got up that morning, and my husband and I were texting back and forth and talking about, what had happened, and he said, well, don't worry about it, and I said, well, she mentioned a good thing last night is kill them with kindness, and I said, yeah, and if I do that, it'll be more than obvious who's got the problem. So I was prepared to, get up some gumption and get out there and, go overboard if I had to. Oh, hey, haven't seen you in a whole year, and how you doing? And play it up if I had to. But I walked out the door, and everything was normal. There wasn't one that didn't speak to me. Had some good conversations with some, not about anything about what we believe, but about what's been going on in their lives and our lives. And, I did, in my mind, I think a couple times it kind of crossed, well, if we're on Facebook, we'd have been kept up through the year.
Yeah, if you wouldn't have blocked me, you would have known.
But, it went really well. There was one cousin who didn't come right up and hug me, but when I said, hey, I didn't get to hug your neck last night. It was nice and cold, and we were all huddled up, and she turned around and hugged me, and then, we stood in a group talking. It was never one-on-one, but everything for the most part seemed really normal, and we had a very, very good reunion. 60-something people turned out, and
That's marvelous.
so it was a lot of fun.
That's good. I was worried about someone treating you differently because of your
I
beliefs.
was anticipating it too, because you just don't know. There are so many people that in your everyday life, that will say stuff, and they will treat you different. And I've had plenty of people, and so I was hoping in this case that it was the family bonds that we'd made would be thicker than, I guess the strings to the page turner in the Bible.
Yeah, right. But good. I'm glad. One subject I wanted to talk about today is, I don't know if you guys saw this, but does anyone know who Julianne Hough is?
Yes.
All right. She was on Dancing with the Stars. She used to be. And I think she was in Footloose and just a few things, and just an adorable girl. And she dressed up like a character on a TV show, which I think the name of the show is Orange is the New Black or something like that. And I haven't seen the show, but I did look at the character that she dressed up like. And this character is called Crazy Eyes. And to look like Crazy Eyes, you had to wear like a prison orange jumpsuit and have your hair twisted in cute little twisties all over your head. And Crazy Eyes has a complexion that is probably like mocha. I don't know. It's not dark, It's like a really good tan plus. So this is Crazy Eyes. She dressed like Crazy Eyes for a Halloween party. She got raked over the coals for doing this because people claim she was putting on blackface. And she apologized for it. And that made me so mad. People stop apologizing for crap like that. That'll put a stop to this. If you take your stand and you stop apologizing for this nonsense, apologize when you need to apologize. She did not need to apologize. This is ridiculous.
Right. And, the thing is when I used to be associated with the church and, sorry, I don't know who's calling me, but used to be associated with the church and, had that mindset. They was very much taught that, this is a pagan holiday and blah, 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 and don't participate, and everything had to be fall festival or autumn harvest festival. And, I loved Halloween as a kid growing up and dressing up. And it is that time to find something that you want to do that just is out there, that's funny, something you've always wanted to be, or something that you just think is cool that particular year or in that particular year. And to dress up as somebody that's on a TV show, I was Madonna when I was a kid, Nowadays I wouldn't dream of doing that because, there's things that I personally don't like about things that Madonna has done. But it was a costume,
Right. Right.
And this was a costume.
Right.
Get over it. People quit looking for crap to be upset about.
Yes,
It
yes.
really is ridiculous.
That's right. Ruthie.
Well, I'm glad that my children grew up in the years that they did because I have a daughter that has a very olive skin.
Yes.
Okay.
It's gorgeous.
And I have a daughter that has a very light skin and blonde hair, and the olive skin has dark hair and dark eyes, and she got razzed a little bit in school. But I can imagine these days it would have been a lot worse. They would ask her, "Are you part Mexican?" And she didn't let it bother her. She'd just say, "Sure." One time they asked her if she was part Negro. She said, "Of course I am." And she did not let it bother her. But can you imagine?
Yeah.
And Janet just told everybody she was adopted because they'd asked Janet. Janet said, "Oh well, she's adopted." But nowadays people look, not everybody, but some people look for something that they can criticize you for or make fun of you or whatever. And those people are very unhappy people. They don't like themselves, so they got to find something wrong with you. And it really breaks my heart to see that going on with so much stuff. And I see some of it. I don't watch a whole bunch of TV, but I do see some of it like in news clips and this type of stuff. And it just breaks my heart to see people that have to find something wrong. They can't look for something good. They have to look for something wrong. And it makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, absolutely. Kimberly.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
It's just skin color, and I really think we need to start looking at it that way. Apparently, she was just copying the skin tone of the person that she was dressed up as.
Exactly.
So if I wanted to be Condoleezza Rice for
Right.
Halloween, that'd be awful because she.
Oh yeah, because she's darker than Crazy Eyes, and so I can imagine if you went darker, it seems like the darker you go, the worse it becomes.
It wouldn't be, to me, it wouldn't be any different than putting on a blonde wig to be Sookie Stackhouse. It's hair color.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. I don't know. Okay.
I was like, okay, I've heard that name recently.
Well, yes.
I was going to be Sookie Stackhouse last year, but that would have been inappropriate. So I'll have to tell you about that costume another time. But
Yeah. Off the air, that sounds interesting.
Okay, but
you're
yeah,
right.
But it was just a
Yeah, I
costume,
agree.
and usually you put on a costume because you're showing appreciation for something.
Yes, right. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, they say. And like there were Obama masks and Ronald Reagan masks. People dressed up like Pee Wee Herman. Nobody thinks twice about that. But I don't know a lot about the blackface controversy. I know that at a certain time in our history, I don't know if Ruthie knows more about how it went down. I can see that if you are making fun of a race of person and you're going to put black on your face and say, "Oh, I'm a black person," and just make them look
That would be
silly,
different.
that's different. But if you're going to be a
Right.
character of somebody, and you have to wear their skin tone, whatever. One time when I was in the Baptist church when I was in the I guess I'll say I was 15 or 16. And I was working on a project for something they called Act Teens back in the day. And you had to do kind of like Girl Scouts, but it was called Act Teens. So I picked a country. It was Nigeria. And I wrote about the country and all kind of things about it. And I bought some, I think it was called mud actually. And it was dark. And I put it all over my face because they're dark in Nigeria for the most part. Never thought twice about it. I was just
Well, I
wanting
don't
people to
think
see what
back
they look
then
like.
It would have been that big of an issue, but now it's like,
Why?
well, I mean, we have so much technology, which we're
Politically
really
correct,
thankful for, and so many outlets of reporting the news, and then you have so many people that are looking for, like you said, political correctness. Everything's going to be politically correct. Do not offend this person. Everybody's offended by every little thing. If you don't celebrate Halloween, celebrate Christmas or I guess Halloween, and then you must be a pagan, you must be a Satan worshiper. You don't believe in God because God wouldn't have you be a part of this holiday. I've heard all this rigmarole. Okay, if you're Jewish and you celebrate Hanukkah instead of Christmas, or if you celebrate Kwanzaa afterwards,
yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
and then every word you have to say, you can't call somebody, once upon a time, retarded meant nothing more than just, mentally handicapped.
Right.
Supposed
Slower.
to means now, slower, mentally challenged. But now it has to be certain words for certain things, otherwise you're going to offend. And everybody's looking for some reason and to pick a bone with something.
You were going to say something earlier.
Nowadays, you can't say you're short. You have to say you're vertically challenged.
I'll tell my daughter.
Ruthie,
now
you're
that.
short.
Yeah, tell her that. You're vertically challenged and she's so tiny.
She is. She's
Tiny.
so little.
She's little bitty. I went to the birthday party for Juliana, and I looked over there and saw the kids, and they were at a table, and then I sat down, and I got looking, and I said, "Wait a minute, that was Jennifer." I thought she was one of the kids, but she's tiny.
Yeah,
She's
I
cute.
did too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was folding her clothes the other day, and they're so little. I go, oh, she's so tiny.
yeah.
She
That reminds me of a pair of.
Okay.
And-
At your house? Okay.
Yeah, why? Sometimes it just comes out.
My washer broke. My hundreds at Rhonda's house.
That's why this was tiny. Oh, okay, that's inappropriate. Politically incorrect for
Okay.
sure. But and people are. I think my other problem is they're quick to apologize because they don't want their reputation ruined. They don't look at Paula Deen. I mean, she went through heck, and I'm not saying she didn't cause some of it, but what she went through, that
right.
punishment did not fit the crime.
No.
I saw her on a commercial. Did y'all the other day? I don't even know what channel it was, but it was some. Never heard the name of the furniture store, but say it was like Henry's. I was like, you can get down to Henry's furniture store and pick up my furniture, and I was like, good for Henry's furniture store. Putting it. Who was it?
Hanks.
Hanks.
Thanks.
Thank
You're
you.
Close.
I saw it too.
Did you see it too? I was like, yes, thank God, she's back. And I was so, glad because we know the outcome of that was she was found, she didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
And then she made a settlement based on her restaurant, based on her brother, who seemed, a lot, okay, extra inappropriate.
You ought to be ashamed of
Bubba,
yourself.
you need
Well-
to respect women.
This Julianne that you were talking about, the dancer, she should have said, I am sorry if what I did, you were offended at what I did, but what I did was not to make fun. You know, she's not apologizing for what she did. She's just apologizing
And
for them.
Even if
being-
it was to make
Yes,
fun,
yes.
it was a Halloween costume. Some
Right,
of these
right.
Halloween costumes we wear because we are poking fun at stuff, but it's not at a race of people. It's at this
Right.
character.
And this one character,
Right.
and it's called Crazy Eyes. Crazy Eyes. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the black face or the hair that's in squiglets. It's cute little doodads. No, it's this Crazy Eyes person. Yeah. Even though when I apologize like that to my husband, I'm always very careful. Because if I don't think I'm wrong, I'm like, I am so sorry that you took me in a way that was, but I promise you, if I don't think I'm wrong, you will not get an apology from Rhonda Jones. I'm so sorry. You won't do it. But if I do think so, hopefully I'll run to you and apologize. But to me, to apologize just to get somebody off your back, that's where you did wrong, sister. You did wrong there, in my opinion. And I guess I'm like everybody else getting on to her for the blackface. I'm getting on to her for apologizing
Right.
for the blackface. And we shouldn't make fun of races of people, but characters on a show, I think that is, obviously this character is making fun of a certain type of a person because it's on a show. And, Crazy Eyes was a good Halloween costume. So, and I almost was Crazy Eyes this morning. I almost became Crazy Eyes
I'm
this
sorry I
morning.
wasn't here to help you get your hair
I
wet.
know. I thought about it to put it in the squiglets, and I needed to get some really dark makeup, and I went
Got
and
some brown back there with the.
just brown eyeshadow might have just.
That might have worked.
Yeah, I wanted to be Crazy Eyes just to prove a point. Prove a point.
Maybe I can all come as Crazy Eyes next week.
Or maybe I'll be crazy. Oh no, not for trunk or treat. I'm not that brave. Inside joke. No, not gonna be Crazy Eyes on trunk or treat day. Okay, have y'all been keeping up with the John Benet Ramsey situation? Oh, she's back in the
Yeah, I
spotlight.
heard a little bit about it, yeah. But
Yeah, well, everybody knows, not hopefully, but that, she was murdered like 17 years ago by someone.
Right.
And the grand jury finally, I think, unsealed the verdict or the document. And the grand jury voted to indict the parents for child abuse leading to murder and accessory. So that was very interesting to me.
I haven't heard that.
Well, I always felt when this was going on that something was being covered up, but I didn't know what. I didn't know enough about it, but I felt everything wasn't above board. So.
Yeah, there was a lot that was. I mean, I don't remember a lot of the details of the case now. I mean, I know that I had read about it at one time, and it's been in and out of the news back and forth. But I remember at the time there were a lot of things like the amount of time I think it was that she was missing before she was reported. Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, I believe
before
so.
the parents, kind of goes back to the dude that left his wife in the backseat of the car for 2 hours, didn't know she was missing. My husband said he'd know right away. I
Yeah.
don't know if I should be upset at that.
Well, when he got hungry.
Notice the quiet.
The quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really slow today. The quiet, yeah. Yeah.
Honey, I would know right away.
Well,
was
I
like,
think that's kind
okay,
of a compliment.
Okay.
But I just think that type of thing is fascinating. But to be fair, when you get a grand jury indictment or a grand jury trial or hearing, only the prosecutor can give information and some evidence. The defense doesn't get a chance to do anything. So, the thing is that you can indict a ham sandwich, by a grand jury because it's very loosely held like that. But the weird thing is to me is how the handwriting experts said that it was the woman's, and to me this was really stupid. The amount of ransom was the exact amount of bonus that the man got that year for Christmas, and say it was
Yeah, that's
$111,000. It was exactly, that's what I want $111,000. That is such an odd number. That was in the ransom note. And the ransom note, might be exaggerating a little bit, was like 2 or 3 pages. And no one ever in the history, I don't think, has ever left a 2 or 3 page ransom note.
Did they have more than just the demands of the money? Because otherwise, what all did they have to say? I mean, 2 or 3 pages. Was it wide
good
ruled,
point.
or was it the kind that's the elementary, you know, with
Did it write big?
primer,
Yeah.
with the big lines,
the
and you have
dots in
the,
the middle.
the red and the dots in the middle?
No, it was
2
a
finger spaces
legal
between
pad,
each.
I think.
Each word a finger space between each letter. You can tell
Bizarre.
I just had a kindergartner.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was a first grader.
I'm telling you, it was strange. So, Ruthie, you know, we were talking to Dr. Shook yesterday on talking about emotions versus scientific evidence. And I was going to ask him this, but I didn't get an opportunity to jump in really quick because it was just flowing too good. So sometimes you got to know when to shut up, when to ask. But I wanted to say, you know, we think about this gut check, and he brought it up anyway, but I have to say that intuition or your gut, whatever that is, whatever it's called, is usually pretty good. And women, we always say we have this woman's intuition. I'm going to go around the room. What do you think, Kimberly, a woman's intuition is? What do you think that's built out of? I mean, where does that come from? It just doesn't have to be scientific because
Oh,
I
I
don't
was
know.
going to
I
say,
don't
I read a
think
book
it
about
is.
it.
You did? Okay.
It's called Blink. The
Blink?
book Blink. It's a very good book.
Oh, wow.
And they said that a lot of it comes from your subconscious never forgets anything. Everything you know, everything you see, everything you
It's
touch,
true.
it's in your subconscious.
It is.
And it will put things together that maybe consciously you don't see.
Interesting.
And that because there's a breakdown in a man's brain between the emotion side and the logic side that's not broke down in a woman's brain, women can access it quicker.
Oh,
So.
I love that. Thank you.
Well, I that's just how it is. Yeah, there's a less connection between the logical side and the emotional side of man's brain.
Yeah.
That's just a physical.
Yeah. It's just how
It means women can recover faster from a stroke because if one side of the brain's affected, the other side can more quickly take over because the connection's still there.
Wow, that's interesting.
But that's what the book Blink. It's a really good book.
And it's
It's not always. It doesn't always work that your intuition will put things together right.
Sure.
But that's where this person said that it came from.
Wow, interesting. Ruthie?
Way back in the olden days when we had hunters and gatherers, women had to be able to use this to protect themselves because sometimes the protector was out hunting and they had to take care of themselves. And so I think this was something that was just kind of built in when they were formed in the beginning, and it just kind of trickled down. Some people get a bigger molecule than others, but it just kind of trickles down. And I really think that that's where it is, because a lot of times, as mothers, you know, we have to go by what we think, what we feel in our gut, so to speak. In raising our children, you can't just jump in there emotionally without using some of this other, because you'd make a mistake.
Yeah, very good, very interesting. Monica?
Oh, I was going to say, kind of along the same lines as Ruthie, that, you know, with your kids and stuff, a lot of times, you know, you have that sense about something they're doing, or that they've been hurt, or, you know, or something like that. It just, I don't know how to describe that we got it, but you get that feeling. And, you know, something's wrong, and, you know, it's a weird thing, you know. I know that you've called a lot of situations that you just had this feeling about, or this you know, not reaction, but, you know, instinct, yeah. So
Yeah,
I've seen it. I don't know exactly what to call it, but I've seen it.
I've seen it
So.
too. When our son John was in town recently, he reminded me of a situation, and he was probably, I want to say 16 years old, and he said, do you remember that time, because they were talking about me and how I guess what kind of mother I am. But he was like, do you remember that time that he said you were in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I was on business, and he said you called up because, I called him constantly checking on him, and he said you asked me, are you high? And he said, I really was. He said, I was smoking pot. He said, I don't know how in the world you knew that.
All the way to Hershey, Pennsylvania.
I was in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And I don't know what it was. And I had no reason before that to ever think anything about him doing anything like that. And I was like, that child, he's high as a kite. And I asked him, are you high? He said, how dare you, Mom? What are you, how kids do sometimes. And but I called it from Hershey, Pennsylvania. So I have very good intuition. I think most mothers do. If you're in a motherly,
Right.
a nurturing, you just know. And then one time, one of our children, when he was really young, probably about 6 years old, went through something pretty traumatic to him, but he didn't tell me. And just observing how I knew him to be, I, pried something out of him, and he told me, and I was like, wow, you just know, you just know these things.
Right.
So we have like 1 minute left.
I say we talk about either a favorite Halloween memory or a favorite Halloween costume or something like that in the show on.
Okay, all right, you want to go first?
Well, I'll do both. My favorite Halloween costume, I think, was when I was a kid and I procrastinated at picking something out or throwing something together. My mom used to make my costumes a lot. And that year, she helped me become a mummy, and that was a lot of fun. I won a costume contest at Girl Scouts, and nobody knew who I was because everything was covered except my eyes and my mouth, and those had the black around it. So it was a very cool costume, and had that. And then favorite memory was my cousins used to live next door to me here in Avondale and Pensacola, and Avondale was a lot different then, and we used to walk the streets for Halloween, and my cousin decided to go as like a break dancer, and he had the boom box on his shoulder, and we were dancing to down the street to some songs, and having a good old time. It was a lot of fun. So, and I remember that, and we were talking about it this weekend.
Cool beans. This just hit my mind. My dad would always have inventory when we were kids, always at the October 31st. And so my mom had to do everything, get the 4 of us ready and whatever we had. And I remember we were actually living on the same street that you live on now.
Really?
Yeah, probably 2 doors to the north. But this is weird, that night for supper before we went out, she colored our ice cubes like weird colors in our drink. And I don't know, it just hit me just now. That was weird. It was kind of cool, like Halloween colors in our ice cubes. Weird. That's it.
I got my first kiss on Halloween.
Ooh, do tell.
Yes. Do tell. How
I was 9. We were in San
Nice.
Antonio.
You fast.
It wasn't like
Well, yeah.
an in-depth kiss or anything, but
Yeah.
we was going to a Halloween party. We lived in an apartment complex, and it was just like right across from our apartment. It was where my boyfriend lived, and he was 9. And I was a witch, and he was Frankenstein. They were having a party at his house, so he came and got me. And after the party, he walked me back, and just as I was going in the door, he grabbed my arm real quick and kissed me, and then he ran home.
Oh, that's cute. Oh, he was such a gentleman for 9 years old.
I guess.
Oh, that's a good story.
He was sweet. He was a sweet boy.
It sounds like it.
I didn't have any Halloweens when I was a child. That was way back before they started doing that kind of stuff, I guess. But my kids enjoyed it, but my favorite Halloween costume was my husband and I went square dancing, and we were all supposed to dress, and I didn't because I don't like putting on costumes, but he did. And when he got there, and he wore a cowboy hat all the time. And when we got there, we went into the cloakroom to pull off our coats, and he hung up his cowboy hat. And he went out, and we did several dancing, and we was into the 3rd tip, which is that's what they call it. You dance 2 dances, and then you rest and stuff. and before someone noticed his, and he had gotten some the clay that actors use, and he had 2 little horns, and he was bald-headed. Joey reminds me of him. He was bald-headed, a little bit of hair here, but Joey's beard wasn't as long as his, and he had pasted these 2 little horns up on top of his head. And that was my favorite costume of all time. So,
Nice memory.
Yeah.
That was a nice memory. Well, we hope you have a good day. We've got some great shows coming up with Dr. Shook. I think he's going to be on just about every single one of the shows, but he wasn't on our show.
I wondered about that. Where was he?
He didn't have a costume.
No.
Oh, okay.
You gotta have a costume. You gotta represent.
You'd be thoroughly vetted to be on the Reflections. Thoroughly. No, we just we didn't ask him because we knew he'd be busy prepping for some other things. So, but anyway, he'll be with you all day long, and so stay tuned, and we'll see you next week. And happy Halloween! Get a lot of candy.